What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Trailer Park Live here on the 2nd Street Marvel, where we're coming at you live every single Friday night at 8 p.m. Now, thank you all so much for being here for this live show. In case you've never been here before, thank you all so much. If you haven't ever been here before, please leave a comment down in the comment section. Let me know that it's your first time being here. Now, in case you have never been here before, this is a live show. I usually go over my comic book pull list, and then we get into some of the latest rumors and things about movies, music, and TV. Just a whole lot of things that we cover here. It is always a good time, especially when we have you all here interacting. Thanks to you viewers who do make this experience on Friday. It's very fun and very special, so thank you all for showing up. Now, as I said, I used to go over my comic book pull list, but I've kind of switched that up here recently. I've started to do my comic book pull list on Wednesdays. Most people do those on Wednesdays because that's when new comics are released at your local comic shop. And if you have a local comic shop near you, you should go and check them out. Mine local to me is Bases, Cards, and Comics in Lancaster, California. You should follow them on their Instagram or even check them out on their Facebook. They post lots of cool things on there, and I've followed a couple other people here on some of my viewers. I've asked them to leave their local comic shop Instagram and things like that. Leave it down in the comments. I'll happily go follow them and see what they have to offer as well. You know, a lot of the places do different things, and it's pretty cool. And you know, I like kind of seeing the different comic shops and what they have to offer. So if you could go ahead and leave that down in the comments as well. Now, as I said, I did used to do my comic book pull list on Wednesdays, but now I do, or on Fridays, but now I do that on Wednesdays. And now on Fridays, I typically go over and cover some of the new issues that I have picked up for the week. And so I'm going to start that off this week with The Amazing Spider-Man, issue number, what is it, 19 now? 19, The Hunted, Part 3. Now, in case you haven't seen some of my comic book reviews, I do have a playlist of them on here, so you should, on my channel, so you should go and check that out. Nick Spencer has really brought this character back down and grounded him. I'm not sure if you used to read some of the issues before. He was almost like a Tony Stark type of character there for a little while, and Nick Spencer has done a great job regrounding this character. They just recently started The Hunting. As you can see, this is part 3, and they have some other issues, like the next one will probably be The Hunted issue number 19.hu, which they're going into talking about some of the other animal totems that are in this story. Now, in the Hunted series here, it's been very good. Like I said, this is part 3. It's kicked off. It has been a really great run so far, really captivating story. I don't want to spoil too much, but Kraven the Hunter has went and he's back, and he's made like this really crazy, how would you say, like interactive game, and he's got a lot of these animal totems in there. You know, Kraven the Hunter, that's what he does. He's a hunter, and he's doing something right now throughout these issues, and there are people who somewhat have an issue with it. Obviously the I guess the bad guys and our hero do, and I don't really want to go too much into that and spoil this for you, but the series has been really great so far. The Hunted, the .hu issues that have tied into this have been really good. I'm not sure if you caught my show last week. The issue on Gibbon was, man, it was really, it really tugs at your heartstrings. If you didn't feel it in that story, I'm not sure what kind of robot you are. But it's been very good, and again, good art in this book. Right now, Ryan Otley will be back soon, I believe. Like I said, you'll see some of that in my previous reviews. But I can't remember the gentleman's name, Sandoval. I can't remember the gentleman's name that's doing the art on this book right now. There you go, Gerardo Sandoval. There you go. You can check that out right there. He's been doing an amazing job doing the art on this book. Now, the artists who are doing the tie-in issues of The Hunted, they've been alternating artists there, showcasing some different artists, with Nick's story still doing the Spencer. But it's been very good. You should check that out. Like I said, they're on part 3 right now, and I believe that's going to be a 5-part series. I could be wrong there, but so it's not going to be too long to have, like I said, a few tie-in issues. Now, the next one I have to talk about here is this is the first issue, Symbiote Spider-Man. Okay, Symbiote Spider-Man issue number 1. This as you can see, this is a new series, and in case you can't tell, you can see he's back in the symbiote suit, and there is something to that. They've got a nice little editor's note in the back of this issue where they explain some things. The issue was, you can see Mysterio's there on the cover. It's this is actually pretty much picking up right after, and it explains that in the very beginning. It's really picking up right after the events of Secret Wars. Now, they do explain some of this. There is some imagery in this book that's a callback. I'm 40 years old, so this stuff I definitely remember. But there is a callback here, and when honestly, I heard somebody else talking about it, and maybe it was here in the editor's note they were talking about it, and it did kind of pull on some heartstrings and kind of bring me back. Like I read these couple of issues, and if you don't want this spoiled for you, I am getting ready to show it right here. So skip ahead about 10 seconds, and so if you don't want to see this, but they brought back this image right here that I'm going to show you, and I was like, wow, I probably looked back over this particular page about 3 times, seeing the Twin Towers in there. That was pretty crazy. But I guess they did that partially to kind of bring the story back to where it was in Secret Wars, after the events of Secret Wars. And they don't really explain the events of Secret Wars in here. They just kind of go over Peter Parker's life and how things are going after the visit to space, and he gets the symbiote suit and those kinds of things. I'm very interested in the series. I am glad that it's only a monthly issue, not a bi-monthly issue, so then I don't have to buy a whole bunch of Spidey issues. Like I said before, they've been doing a whole bunch of Spideys, and I've been, I think I'm at the point where I'm going to scale them back. I may wait for trades on some of them, just because it gets to be expensive pulling these bi-monthly mags basically every week, if you're a Spider-Man fan. So it gets to be a little much. So I think some of the Spider-Man fans, and you all know I am a die-hard Spider-Man fan. I'm not giving up on these issues. I've got to slow down on them. It's like I said, it's getting a bit ridiculous. Now, moving on to the next issue I have here. It is Winter Soldier issue number 5. This is the end of this particular series. This was only a 5-issue run, and I gotta say it's kind of sad to see it coming to an end already. I like the character of Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier. This series has been, it was good, but I gotta say, maybe about issue number 3, I kind of felt in the first place that it was gonna be, the conclusion was gonna be a little bit underwhelming. Okay, now don't let me saying that detract you from reading this. The art in it is very unique. Rod Reese done the art in it and the inks and everything on it. It's a very unique art. I like the art style in it. It almost looks like it's watercolors. It's pretty unique art in it. I like it. But the story itself, it was a good story, but I feel like it needed more in it. And the ending was, I don't know. It's not anything I didn't expect by the time the ending got here from the series. Like I said, it's not a bad book. It's just, maybe it's just too short-lived is probably what it is. It's a slow burn of a series, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not against slow burns as long as it's a good story. And the story here, like I said, it was pretty good. I did kind of have a feeling though about midway through that the conclusion I was gonna feel like I wanted more, and that's kind of how I felt at the end of reading this issue. I felt like I still wanted more, but it is definitely a series worth checking out. Now, I'm going to talk about Captain Marvel issue number 4. And this is the cover issue, the one that has a cover. And if you read issue number 3, you already knew that was coming. And this issue right, here is a, it was good. Now, like I said, if you've seen me talk about these before, I have no problem with what's going on in these issues. I know there's some of the people I follow here on YouTube, like Eric July, who's Young Ripa 59. You can go and check his channel out. He's got a pretty good channel. He talks a lot about comic books and politics and things like that. He runs a libertarian page and all kinds of things. He's really involved in a lot of politics and things like that. And he's one of these people who has a problem with these issues like the Captain Marvel series and things like that. And I totally get where he's coming from, and he's totally free to feel that way. And I kind of feel that way too. I got some of the same feelings that he does when it comes to these things. Now, it really hasn't been so bad the first couple of issues to nitpick at for me. there was some things I kind of picked out of it, and then in the third and fourth issue, it seems like they are taking it a little bit far. Like I said, it is Captain Marvel, so you know it's going to be woman-centric anyway. And the first two issues I didn't think were too bad. They didn't lay it on too thick, but in the last two issues, there are just some undertones, and maybe they're just overtones of what's going on here, and it gets to be a little much. And, like I said, it is woman-centric, so obviously, I don't know, it almost seems like they're really down-talking men, and there's some particular things said in this last issue, and just the way it's set up, the way they're all stated, and there's actually a line in it where, the characters are talking about what's going on, and one of the characters goes, "That's pretty disgusting." And you know what? I was actually reading it, and I was laughing, and I'm like, it is kind of disgusting, and, who's the one writing this, and who's this targeted at? I mean, it's just like, I don't know, it seemed like, I don't know, there seems to be a little bit of disassociation here from exactly the subject matter and the writer. It just, I don't know. It just, the way it's presented, I don't necessarily like. I am going to probably continue the series for probably another issue or two just to get through, because these series so far, they've been, the series so far starting off has been just titled Re-Entry. I may wait till after Re-Entry and then stop pulling these ones and then just do collected trades to see how the story progresses here. Like I said, it's not a bad series. It's, like I said, it's very woman-centric. It's not terrible. It's just, like for me, it's getting a bit ridiculous, and like I said, I've got some pulls and everything that I'm ready to stop doing anyway, just so I can kind of scale it back a little bit. And plus, I see nothing wrong with trades, and I'm going to be doing more of the pulls on the issues that I definitely like a lot more. And I hate to say that because, you obviously all know that I do love Spider-Man, and I am talking about scaling back some of those. So, no, it's no big deal. It's nothing personal against Captain Marvel or the story going on there. It's just one of those things that, it's going to become back burner to me as compared to things like Captain America, which has been really great. Amazing Spider-Man's been awesome. I've really liked the Uncanny X-Men, and Punisher has been excellent. And in case you haven't seen me say it before, I'm going to be doing a review soon. Black Widow, that series is 100% legit. If you're not reading the current Black Widow series, you got to go out and pull that. Get that on a pull list. Do not wait for trades on that. Go out and buy it right now. If you don't have a local comic shop near you, get on Comixology or even Marvel.com and order that thing digitally. It is an absolutely great series, and you need to check it out. Okay, now, on Wednesday, I did announce my winner from 2 weeks ago. I forgot to announce the winner for the issue of... What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Trailer Park Live here on the 2nd Street Marvel, where we're coming at you live every single Friday night at 8 p.m. Now, thank you all so much for being here for this live show. In case you've never been here before, thank you all so much. If you haven't ever been here before, please leave a comment. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing all good today. Sorry about that. Something just went wrong with my encoder there. And anyway, here I am. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes the software and everything on these things kind of gets a little bit out of hand, and you do what you got to do on a live show. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I hope you're all doing good today. Hopefully, if my audio is too loud there, I didn't really get a chance to do a whole lot of testing and everything here before we went live today. Got it as good as I could. So anyway, yeah, I just interrupted for the giveaway details that I was getting ready to do for those issues. Oh man, where'd they go? Hey, they are. The giveaway. I forgot to, I'm not sure if you guys caught my comic book pull list the other week or just earlier this week, but I forgot to announce the winner for this issue right here. It was the Incredible Hulk issue 181. The winner was Vincent Chaffin. I'm sorry. I know I probably butchered your name. Feel free to get a hold of me in the About section on my channel here, so I can get that sent out to you. Get me your details, and I get that sent out to you. And the giveaway I am doing this week for the giveaway was X-Force #2 was for last week's, and the winner of last week's issue for the giveaway for this one is Tracy Woody. Tracy, please get a hold of me in the About section on my channel here so I can get your details and get this sent out to you so you can have some happy reading. Now, the giveaway for this week is going to be a digital copy of Captain America issue number 9. This was an issue that came out last week. You want to close that door? It's a digital copy for Captain America issue number 9. All you got to do to get entered into the digital copy for this is leave a comment down below of who is your favorite superhero, or what is your favorite current comic book, or what's on your comic book pull list. Anything like that, leave it down in the comment section to get entered into the giveaway for this Captain America, the digital copy of Captain America issue number 9. Now, we got a lot of things to go over today. Make sure you stay to the end to find out more details on how to get entered into the giveaway for Warner Brothers Aquaman. You know, to get entered into that, you know what, I'll just tell you right now, to get entered into that, just leave a comment. Just leave a comment down there, anywhere in the comment section. Whether you're watching the replay, whether you're watching it right now, it's all good. Live, replay, whatever. Leave a comment down there to get entered into that. As soon as we get 200 subscribers, I will be doing the giveaway for that copy of Aquaman. So make sure you share this video with a friend. Tell all your friends to come here, hang out with us, especially on a night like tonight. These Trailer Park Lives are always fun to do with you all when we're here interacting, and always a fun thing. Always a fun thing. So tonight I got a very special guest with me tonight. You guys have probably, if you've ever tuned in here before, you have probably seen him. He is getting ready to be launching a channel of his own very soon. It will be called Keen Observations. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the inside source. In case you do not remember, we got this covered. We got your source right here. Richard, say hello.
Are we doing the sources stuff tonight? Because there's so much else to talk about this week.
You know what?
This week we had 26. We had actually 200,000. Was it 200? No, it was only 26. 26 different Avengers trailers this week that we could go over, as well as 32 different leaks, plot leaks that were all 100% accurate, each and every one of them.
Is this 25 plot leaks that you haven't heard yet?
Yeah. One of them's got to be right, you know. Then, of course, the big news today is that we have the Star Wars trailer today, which we can get into that. There's a lot to talk about with that. I think they're doing. I think JJ is doing a good course correction on this, just based on this. Of course, it's just the trailer. Who knows? But I think they're doing a good course correction. Just and we can get into why. I don't want to just say course correction 5 different times.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the trailer looked good. It was just the first teaser trailer, really, and I thought it did a pretty good job of doing what it was supposed to do. It definitely, I don't know, it kind of got me hyped up for the film. You know, and honestly, I haven't been hyped and, looking into, like, plot leaks and all that stuff like I have Avengers Endgame, because, you know what, it's like 9 months out still. You know, you could get your wife pregnant and have a baby by the time this movie's going to hit theaters, you know. I mean,
good
but it's
idea.
like, you got like, like a really small window there. But I don't
want to miss the release date because I'm going to be,
Oh, well,
with the newborn, so that's actually not
true. You don't want to be that person at the theater every once in a while.
I'm sure it would be worth it with a new kid and all, but you know what I'm saying. I don't want to plan for something like that. I think here's why I say a course correction. Now, what happened with, and he's also correcting his mistakes, JJ's mistakes on The Force Awakens. The problem with that was, of course, that Rey was just this super powerful. Everything was, she just could do everything just so perfect, which makes no sense. It's just, it's stupid. It's like an uninteresting character. It's a Mary Sue. Although I do like Daisy Ridley, and I do like how she was. I do like how, other than that, the other aspects of her character were actually pretty cool, because she was like from humble beginnings and all that, and a lot of it can make sense. And I think the first words, just the voiceover that Mark Hamill was doing, and it I think explained it. I think it was what I expected to have happened in Episode 8, which was okay. So the way they are doing it is they're saying, 1,000 generations, we all gave it to you. So somehow or another, she got all of their teachings and all of their learnings and all of their abilities from all the generations of all the Jedi going down to her. Now, I don't know how that's going to play out in the movie or what that means.
You know what?
But that makes sense. If she's a conduit somehow of all that, they have to explain why she's so powerful. Well, that's the thing.
I mean, it's pretty simple to explain how we got there. And she got sucked into a time vortex.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, duh.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, she was.
Wouldn't that? I mean, imagine that. Wouldn't that just be lazy writing?
Right next
if
to,
she just got, I don't know.
Right next to Loki.
Yep. Anyway, before we get too far into that, before we get too far into the Star Wars stuff, I want to cover this really quick before we get too far into that, because we also found out about the Disney streaming service. More about the Disney streaming service recently. Apparently, it is going to roll out just in the United States, and I believe, I can't remember the exact date, but is it October? November like 11th? Somewhere right around there. And the price, I believe they said it's going to be $6.99 per month, or
it's going to go right up,
or $69.99 for the full year. So obviously, you know the one thing that they're banking on, and I've heard several people talking about what's going to happen is the price is going to go up. It's going to go up immediately because they're going to find out that it costs more and all this stuff, that it costs a lot of money. Well, that very well might be true, but at the same time, I'm not sure how much I believe that too, because keeping the price low when there's already all these other streaming services that somebody has to pay for, which is obviously making somebody like me start to get sick, because I'm just like, I don't watch enough of this stuff myself to keep paying for all these services. Most of my kids watch most of these things anyway.
In fairness, though, Disney has a lot of properties, and they have a lot of stuff they can go off of, but there's still nothing compared to what Netflix can offer as far as variety,
right,
and different franchises that Disney just doesn't have the rights to.
Well, and here's the thing, though.
Well, there's a lot of stuff they don't have. They have a lot.
They'll still be making money. They'll still be making money from those streaming services anyway, because some of the Disney properties, like the Disney movies that are currently on there now, they're not being pulled off of there. For good, and that's something I was reading in one of the articles about all this going on, is they're still going to be premiering the Avengers Infinity War and some of those movies that are on Netflix. They will still have those and let those go out, and they will obviously still be on this platform as well. But things go starting, I believe, at Captain Marvel. Once it releases on digital, it's going straight to streaming on that service exclusively and won't be anywhere else.
That won't get any subscribers, I can tell you right now.
Probably with everything, probably with the rest of their movies going forward, I would guess as well, until maybe they get to a bigger event type movie. Maybe they decide to release that on like a Netflix or Hulu or whatnot also.
I'm still a physical product guy. I still prefer a DVD or Blu-ray, or even the whatever they have now. They're still going to be releasing the physical products. I still believe in those.
It's going to be going away soon, man.
I do not like the streaming service. I don't like the way it interacts. I much prefer a DVD.
It's going to be going away soon, man. It is. There's no denying that it's getting ready to go pretty soon.
Can they not just make it as good as a DVD?
Well, the thing is the streaming services are getting better now, and the good thing about them is a lot of them is you can actually take and download a copy onto like your computer, onto your phone, or wherever you want to go. So then you can still get it in that quality. So it's not like streaming quality if you're having problems with your connection speed.
Well, I guess that's what I need to do then.
I mean, it's something we've all got to give into, and you know what? I feel the same way, and believe me, I'm gonna ride it until the wheels fall off. Don't get me wrong, I am. Don't think that every video I'm not gonna be getting the
now, so just saying.
Yeah, there's probably like 3 lug nuts, because that was the other thing that
pretty wobbly.
that happened not too long ago was at CES, like Consumer Electronics, Samsung, who is like really big on the cutting edge technology as far as like Blu-ray players, DVD players, media players through I guess the recent history, they've kind of been on the leader of it. Well, there was only like 3 new DVD players released this year, Blu-ray players, like physical media players, and none of them were Samsung. And Samsung actually even said they're not making any. I don't know. I guess they would probably make new ones. They're probably not going to make any upgrades at this point. But they are actually going to start including in their TVs and things like that, they're actually going to just start including a patch for Apple TV, for the and all the Apple streaming service and things like that. So then you don't have to have, you know, like the specific things for that as well. So they're going to have that actually built into their TVs. So that's just one other thing, knowing that, you know, that much sooner there's not going to be any the physical media is going away, and it's sad.
To me,
it's sad.
The problem is that it's so easy for to just erase things completely from history and from memory. If a company releases some movie and 20 years later it becomes politically incorrect or whatever, and they want to like just forget about it, it's too bad. They can do it now, or they'll be able to do it. But now it's like, no, it's too bad. We have this DVD. It's
you can always
still
back
here.
up your collection.
Yeah,
I mean, you can back them up.
But most people are going to just go with something that they're just going to like get off, like streaming.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what it's going to, and I think that's the sort of the danger of it, amongst other things.
But anyway, getting back to the Disney and the streaming service, you know, I'm not sure how soon the price will go up, because I think maybe and it may in the future, but I don't know. I think maybe the first few years it might just stay about the same, because the lower the price is, the more people that are going to go there for the content. If they make their stuff exclusive, I mean, you know, I just think they can probably get more people by keeping it a little bit cheaper when there's already so many other services out there.
I've never paid for a streaming service, and I'm going to for this, because I tell you what, I want to see The Mandalorian.
Oh, certainly.
And
certainly.
I want to see the Scarlet Witch.
Vision.
You know, Vision, whatever of that stuff they're doing with Marvel. It's I think it'd be great, because there isn't enough time in the Marvel movies to actually expand all these great, you know, great characters. Maybe they're great characters. Who knows? It doesn't matter, because they're great actors, and they were written well, so they are, you know, they are worth watching.
Right.
You know, like Elizabeth Olsen is, again, I think I've mentioned this before, the best and strongest female character in the Marvel Universe, despite what some people say.
Well, you know, I don't know. I think lately, especially like in the comic books, Black Widow been kicking some ass, man. Okay, and I think
She's
they could
great.
easily
she just
translate.
doesn't really have any superpowers.
Well, you know,
I read a few of the comics, and I actually like her.
I think
she's pretty brutal.
Yeah, she is brutal. And you know what? I think in this new series they just started, she's making Punisher look like an altar boy, straight up. I'm just like, wow, I'm blown away. But I think they could easily darken it up a bit in like a solo Black Widow movie, and I think they could easily do that. Now the thing
they should have done a Black Widow movie previous. They should have done it somewhere.
They should have had one by now for sure.
One already, because I mean, Scarlett Johansson is like, she's a known quantity. She's a known.
She's in demand.
Like, she's gonna bring in people. You know, her star power is unquestionable.
Yeah. And, you know, and it's not like that's going to go away anytime soon, but, I mean, I think they should have capitalized on that a little bit sooner. You know, I mean, it's so hard to say, but, you know, they can still go back and tell backstories, future stories, and things like that. You know, I think that would be a
She doesn't have the
cool
superpowers, but she has something called screen presence and charisma. Which, you know, they did this one movie recently where that was not present. So, we'll just go on.
All right. Well, anyway, I don't know.
I don't like Captain Marvel, okay? I'll just say it. Let's come right out and say it. I've been hinting around it for a while. I don't like it, okay?
I thought the movie was good. I'm not sure.
It was okay. It was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
I thought
it wasn't
was a good
horrible,
movie.
but Brie Larson's just cardboard cutout.
Well, you know, I think a lot of that, you know, people are talking about her performance and everything. Like, I think there's definitely room for improvement on it, but in the long run, you got to think that her character couldn't even remember her past, so she has no emotional connection to it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, how else is a person that has that going on, that doesn't have their memories, that is just starting to learn how they're supposed to? I mean, how are they supposed to react, especially when she, as far as she knows, she's just been a Kree warrior for, you know, what is it, about 6 years?
Right.
You know, that's really all she knows, is like to be that. You know, while she was still showing her human traits by being like slapsticky and jokey. You know, and they definitely planted that in the very beginning of the film. But overall, you know, she was supposed to be, you know, this serious warrior going in there to fight and everything. And so, and I think through a lot of that, just how she was brainwashed, I think, you know, because I really spent some time thinking about that. I think it played into the role, and I think that's why they did some of that.
Okay.
You know, because like I said, I really like the movie. Like I said, it's not a perfect movie, but you know what? And I'm getting ready to do another video this week. This weekend, I will be working on that Avengers, all the breakdown in the theory, some theories here that will be coming up. But I think
are the quantum suits? Are the white suits?
I've got a ranking list. I've got a ranking list, and the Captain Marvel. It's right there. It's right there in about the middle. It's right there in about the middle. But the quantum suits, yeah,
or whatever invisibility.
I won't
suits.
say that. You know, I won't say they're quantum suits. Okay,
invisibility suits someone was saying that could be what they are.
You know, for me, I just want to call them Stark Tech suits. That are for the Avengers, because Tony Stark.
More Pym Tech though, because they look more like the Pym stuff. So, I think it was mimicking the quantum suits for some reason.
Well, the thing is,
they look similar for some reason.
The thing is I believe, and like I said, some of this stuff will be in the video, but I believe Stark just actually easily takes the Pym Tech and integrates it into his Stark Tech. Easily.
Well, he'll do that in an afternoon.
Well, yeah. You need a tow? I have your tow by 3 o'clock.
He created a new element, guys. Come on.
No, well, yeah. Well, the thing is he has. You see what his suit's made of? It's made of like the nanotechnology, you know, and it just basically made of magic, and it forms into whatever he wants it to. Okay, so really, and so basically, what happens is you think of what you want it to be, and it turns into it. And it turns into these different things. Like whatever you think of is what it does. Almost like, how would you say? Remember that movie Big Hero 6? Remember those little bots that he had on there?
I didn't see it actually.
You see Big Hero 6? Oh man,
it looked like a kid movie.
Anyway, so it kind of does whatever you want it to. It forms into whatever you want it to do. And I think that once he gets the Pym Tech, all he got to do is just add whatever it is to it, like, you know, the Pym particle in this instance, to his technology to upgrade it, because it does whatever you want it to. It easily assimilates to other technology.
So here's what's gonna happen. He's gonna get the Pym particle, and he's gonna add it to the element that he created, and it's gonna be two brand new things, right?
Well,
I don't know.
I was starting to think. I'm wondering if the Pym particle is a version of maybe like in its liquid form, maybe a version of something else like that. Because essentially, what Tony done when he created that new element, which it was actually Dr. Zola who created that new element. Just so any of you casual audience members who don't know this, this is for the hardcore geeks right here. Dr. Zola actually created that new element, okay, back in 1943. Okay, just so you know. But when Tony Stark recreated
my head's
it...
still here?
Yeah. When Tony Stark recreated it, I'm telling you, it's the hardcore geeks.
Yeah. Whack.
When Tony Stark recreated them, essentially what they did was recreated the power of the Tesseract, of the Space Stone. That's essentially what it is. So they created that. Okay, so they've already done that. Like, people talking about, there's that theory out there about recreating the stones. They've already done it. Okay, they've already done that. That's what's powering the arc reactor at this point. Well, he don't even have the arc reactor anymore. But that's what his technology is all based around at this point. So that's what that is. And honestly, I truly think that that's what Dr. Erskine's formula is too. I think it's actually a formula for the Power Stone.
Here's a problem that I have with creating your own stones. Going back and getting them is one thing, which I think I'm convinced that's what they're doing. They're going to go back and get them. Creating them, I think, it just doesn't make sense, because just on the Marvel lore itself, they were created with a Big Bang, so it would take energy of that magnitude to create something like that.
Well, it's
like one of those things. You're out of the system. You have to be something. You're in this closed system, and it had to be something greater from outside the system to create it.
Well, you've seen what happened when.
Oh, but wait a minute! Wait a minute! I forgot something. They're using what quantum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Never mind.
Yeah. Just put quantum in front of it.
Yeah, it works.
Put quantum in front of it.
We're talking about regular Einstein
Yeah.
physics, regular physics. This is quantum physics. It's completely different. Okay. Well,
good point.
my suspension of disbelief remains intact.
Well, the thing is you're saying that it would take like that kind of magnitude of something to create it. But if
it was created in the Big Bang, yeah. I mean that was how they explained it, was that it was from the Big Bang and from that interaction, that one,
which is basically a chemical reaction. Would you not say? In sense.
But well, it was a reaction of every ounce, every
right.
Every particle in the entire universe reacting at once.
Right.
So you would have to
it's
have
catastrophic.
You would
pretty
have
catastrophic.
To, you would have to have all of you would have to have something that amounts to every particle.
Now the thing is,
so that's what the quantum realm. See.
Now the thing is you see. We see in Captain America: The First Avenger when they first created that element, when Dr. Zola did it, they had the machine on, they cranked it all the way up, and remember, like, Red Skull comes in, he's like, I'm not here for safety, and he goes and he cranks it all the way up, and it actually almost blows a hole in space. You see it starting to rip holes in space. You see everything in the air around him. You start to see space. When Dr. Zola created the new element in Captain America: The First Avenger, you see it starting to like you see the space starting to open up, just like when the Tesseract sends Red Skull off to Vormir. You see the beam shoot up, but you see space starting to open up around it.
We don't know that they sent him out to Vormir.
Of course,
he may have had a number of adventures along the way.
No, that's not even possible. But I would actually say that's not possible, and believe me, but don't believe me over him though. Anyway, because. He's the inside source till we got this covered. So he knows more than I do.
Can I do a mini rant or something that was kind of on my mind earlier? I've been thinking about the last few days. Just take a few seconds.
Oh no!
Just a little story about comics.
Let's hear it.
A little story.
Okay, this is a little story about comics.
A little story about comics.
Let me get my guitar out here. Let me get my guitar out here.
Yeah. Little story about comics. I'm gonna tell you. So, and just to sort of bring the understanding of how the trailers work now, and especially as related to Marvel movies. So the first comic I bought that I remember buying was Conan. I bought a Conan back in the 80s, and Conan on the cover of this comic book was Conan on top of this giant like worm, something like that, a giant snake, something like that, with his sword, and he was on top of it and fighting it. So I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm gonna buy this comic. This is cool. And then going through the comic, there was a giant worm thing in there, and there was Conan inside the comic, and there was some sort of confrontation, but there was at no point in that comic was he on top of that worm riding him and stabbing him. And I noticed that happened a lot with comics later on. Like there would be, like whether it was Batman or Star Wars or a Spider-Man, it would kind of encapsulate what happens inside the comic. Mm-hmm. You see where I'm going with this? You would kind of get what's going to happen in the comic, but it was never the same. And let's fast forward to like the early O's and watching was that Bedazzled? Was that the Brendan Fraser movie?
Bewitched.
Bedazzled. Oh god.
No, Bedazzled. Bewildered.
Bemused.
Wow, what was that one?
Just Be There. It starts at 7.
It wasn't Bewitched. That was the Will Ferrell one. No, it might be Bedazzled. It might be Bedazzled.
But there was a scene, where Elizabeth Hurley is standing around. I think in front of a pool table with a snake around her neck. She plays the devil in there.
Oh,
and
yes.
In the trailer, and says,
yes.
"Why wouldn't you trust me?" or something like that. And that was not in the movie. And that was the first time I noticed that in trailers.
Those
pattern.
damn Russo brothers.
Yeah.
Those damn Russo brothers and Marvel Studios were making fake trailers clear back in the Bedazzled days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dang, they've been at it for a while, those guys.
So going down to, I think it's completely appropriate that they throw scenes that are not actually in the movie, in the trailer, to give you kind of a summary. Because we've even seen so far with Endgame how there's the scene where who does Mark Ruffalo play in this? What's his character's name? Where Bruce Banner says,
David Banner.
If we go in there, we're going to be outnumbered, right? So that's in the trailer, and it's different than in the actual scene that we saw where he actually says it. And that's fine. They use different takes, and I think it's for dramatic purposes. You use different shots, and sometimes you completely change things just so you don't spoil it.
Yeah, I don't see nothing wrong with it anyway.
I think it's cool. I think it's cool.
You know, there was I'm not sure if you guys see, if you guys follow my boy Warstu over here on YouTube. He actually he actually did a video today, and he was saying like
Marvel Comics,
like saying a lot of this is fake. Maybe it's all fake. And you know what? I said a long time ago on one of my shows here that I think it would be absolutely hilarious if they actually just took and heard and went and some of the popular fan theories out there and just cut together trailers as close as they could to those theories and released it for trailers. Good. That would be flippin' hilarious. I would love that. You know, and like I said, because then you see like the stuff that they chopped together for the trailer in the movie, but it's nothing like it happened because they basically had it to fit a narrative of some big fan plot leak. Genius. I just think that would be great.
Right. Well, and Mark Ruffalo also said he filmed like 5 different endings. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're just saying things to say things sometimes. Like Samuel L. Jackson with the whole, Captain Marvel can time travel stuff. He's like, I was just saying that, man. Like, whatever. I think at this point, like, if you've seen,
think she has telepathy? Is that?
I don't think it's her. I don't think that's her that said that. That's just my theory. I think that's definitely there in the trailer. I mean, you can hear it like plain as day. But again, it's just. I think it's just there to mislead us. I think it's just put there to mislead. It's probably not even her that says it. I mean, hell, it could be the Ancient One. It could be some other new person that we're going to meet in the movie. Because I definitely have that theory as well.
Do we want to go over the Star Wars trailer?
Yeah. And we kind of got off there because I wanted to talk about that Disney streaming service
beat
thing
for
first.
beat, because I did sort of a reaction video too, but it really sucked because I didn't really want to say anything because I really want to take it all in. I don't want to ruin the experience of seeing it the first time for myself with a reaction video, so I probably won't do that again because it sucked. Because all I said was, oh yeah, that's a cool scene. Because I wanted to get into, okay, so they're tying the whole trilogy together. Like I said, the first thing that Mark Hamill's voiceover says is you have the power, or something to that extent. You have the power of all the thousands of the 1,000 generations of Jedis, right? So that's cool. They put that in there, and then if you notice the words on the screen, do you remember what they said and the font that they were in? It was exactly like the lead up the first trailer for Phantom Menace. And it was like parroting those words. Like that one for Phantom Menace was every saga has a beginning. This was every generation has a hero or something like that. Yeah. So the press on this for since the JJ started working on it was that they're tying everything from all 3 trilogies, everything from the previous 8 movies is going to be in this somehow or another. And so that's a great way of showing it with the marketing, that they're like the first movie was every saga has a beginning. This one is every generation has its blah blah. So even with the marketing, they're doing a good job of showing that's what they're trying to do. And then of course the final shot of it is the remains of the Death Star on some planet, which is cool. Which was in actually the artwork, the original artwork for The Force Awakens. a throne room underwater. So I don't know if that's going to be in there or not, if that's going to be part of it. But it was water, and that was the thing, that they were going to find the throne room underwater. So seeing that is kind of like a massive spoiler, because like, oh, we already know what they had for the concept art that they had drawn up for the Force Awakens. They didn't know what they were going to do exactly with it. They're like, oh, it'd be cool if we did this, it'd be cool if we did that, and they didn't use it for that. So now we know that they're using that underwater. I mean, who knows? Who knows how it's going to go for sure? But it seems like the Death Star has crashed into a planet. The remains of the Death Star, they're on a planet, and it's in water. Maybe that's going to happen.
Yeah, totally possible.
How they bring Palpatine back into it, I don't know. It seems like, well, his whole thing was the way he lured Anakin was, oh, I can beat death. I can show you how to beat death. So him being thrown down a shaft and a Death Star that blows up, that ain't shit to him.
But he probably wasn't even thrown down a shaft. It's probably all, he probably Loki'd it. He Loki'd it.
Yeah, low key.
He pulled the Loki.
What else? What else in there? Oh well, I got to say the biggest smile and almost not really goosebumpy moment, but like, this is great, was seeing Lando on screen.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And the fact that he's in the Falcon, that's great. I hope that they're kind of like shoehorning, or not shoehorning. What's the word I'm looking for? They're kind of ending it like started out with the Falcons. Where we first see the Falcon was with Lando owning it in the Solo story, which was not very good. But we know that he was the original owner of it, and hopefully that's what happens at the end. He owns it, and he goes back in his hands, and he flies off into the
sunset,
into the galaxy. Yeah.
Could be. Yeah. Could be. Maybe he gets the Millennium Falcon back. Maybe him and Chewie take off and dance into the sunset.
When I knew that Han Solo was going to die in The Force Awakens, which I knew, I just knew it was going to happen. I knew that Harrison Ford wasn't signing on for 3 movies. He was going to die in there. I assumed that it would be him and Chewie dying together somehow, and maybe crashing the Falcon, and that would be very dramatic, right? But they didn't do that. And I always thought that if they didn't do that, my thought was, what's Chewie going to do? And who's going to have the Falcon? It just seemed kind of awkward, and like nothing is really fitting. Like no one besides Lando really kind of deserves to have the Falcon. Lando and Chewie, of course, but Chewie doesn't speak English, so not much of a movie there, guys. Sorry. Him and Nia Nub flying the Falcon. Him and blah, 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 whatever. And Nia Nub, how does he say things? Like, yeah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. That wouldn't be much of a scene if Nia Nub and Chewbacca took over the Falcon.
Hey, I mean, if Winter Soldier and Falcon are going to get their own solo series together, I mean, it's probably going to be about the same thing, right?
They speak English though. and they're pretty good actors. Like Sam's.
Dang, what am I drinking here? This is water, I think.
What else did we have in that trailer?
That little scene where she does a little backflip or whatever over the
right.
Dude, that looked pretty sick. But what do you think is going on there? Do you think that's actually happening? Do you think that's something that's fake or misleading in the trailer? Because it almost seemed to me like watching that first part, that little section right there. It almost reminded me of watching the Frozen 2 trailer.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that. Yeah,
it almost reminded me of that.
Except she had solid ground that she could run on, and she didn't have to make several attempts at it. But since I have had a few hours to think about it, and I have been thinking about it since we've been talking about it, I am almost of the okay. So if Kylo was in that ship, that TIE Interceptor or whatever it is, chasing her down and wanting to kill her, why was he not just using his cannons? Why would he fly that low to the ground? And they have a connection, right?
Right.
I don't think that he's trying to kill her. I think there's something else going on there.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I wonder if it's fake or maybe she's flipping into it. I mean,
Right.
maybe the hatch is gonna open, and who knows?
She needs to ignite her lightsaber to open the hatch for him, because reasons. Why that has to happen? Why is she in the middle of the? There's literally nothing around. They didn't do a 360 around her, but
you know,
I think if there was anything around her, they would have shown it. She's like literally just like got dropped there, or walked across the desert.
Maybe it's a new training simulation, like remember when they had the
It's
little
in a
blaster
dream. Yeah, it's in a dream. It's in a
you know
force vision.
when Luke was
Force vision. Yeah.
I call it luck. I mean maybe it's just something like that. Maybe it's like a new sort of simulation thing, and she's doing that.
It is rumored that Tatooine. There's
maybe she's ghost riding the whip.
Mm-hmm. It is rumored there's a huge MacGuffin which has to do with C-3PO in this, and he's going to actually play a pretty big role in it, which is cool, because he was just kind of thrown in a few scenes in the other two sequel movies. And R2 was hardly used at all. They're trying to fit all these droids. They're trying to fit BB-8 in there, and then they've got BB-8 has another little droid. So it's kind of hard to work in R2 and C-3PO. So it's kind of cool that C-3PO is going to have more of a role, because I think Anthony Daniels at this point is done. Like, he doesn't want to do another single one. Mm. And Lucas's original vision was that it's like a story told from their point of view, and they're sort of the narrators. Mm-hmm.
I could kind of see that.
Mm-hmm. So it seems like they weren't involved in enough of the story in the other two movies.
Yeah, definitely not. Not much at all. But of course, all these movies have fan community divided, but there's people out there that don't like the Force Awakens, and I thought the Force Awakens was good. Was it great? No, but it was good. I mean, I like it. It was a really good movie.
It was.
I enjoyed it.
It was more enjoyable than the prequels. It was a good setup. I think Ruin Johnson came along and did the Captain Purple Hair. Yeah, bullshit. No, just kind of back
to the Force Awakens. Like I was saying, I thought the Force Awakens was really good.
Yeah,
and
he opened up a lot of possibilities.
But one thing, like you were saying earlier about like the Mary Sue thing, while I kind of get what people say, what they're thinking when they on that. I also think that at the same time, there are sometimes people who are just gifted. Okay, some people are just gifted.
Pilot, gifted mechanic, right. The biggest fighter, the
now,
best
however,
force user.
Right now, however, the thing is being able to do it and being able to do it with. And have control over it all, and being able to control everything at the same time is a different thing. Just because you can do it, and you're just, and you're some sort of hot shot, doesn't necessarily mean that you've got the skills to be able to handle all the being like a Jedi or handling all those things at once takes.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, I like the idea of her being a sort of a conduit for somehow or another. The stuff I like that explanation. It's an explanation. There needs to be some explanation, because when you see how much effort it took for Luke to just like lift a little bit of something the very first time in The Empire Strikes Back, it took him a while. It took training, and of course she did have to learn some things, but she's just like immediately boom, Jedi mind tricked. And one explanation is, and I think it was actually in the novelization of The Force Awakens, which is cool, when Kylo Ren questioned her, like she was in that room and she turned things around on him, right? Mm-hmm. That was really a cool scene. So right. you can even tell from the movie that she was reading his mind. Mm-hmm. So the explanation was that she have some have theorized, and I think probably what's happening here is that she is like a conduit for the stuff, to where she taps into someone else's mind. She can like download their abilities to a degree. They're raw and still have to be. Right. She still has to like figure out in her own mind how to do them. But
she's like a psychic kind of.
Yeah, like she can
telepath.
Kind of like what's that that X-Men
Rogue.
Rogue. Yeah, she's the one that like can take your powers, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It's sort of like that, and that's a good enough explanation. A good enough explanation. She's not just all powerful because she's a special princess. You know, she actually there's some reason why she has that, and if they do that, it will kind of right every wrong in the trilogy. Well,
Yeah, like I said, I mean,
in
the end, there's always ways that you can go back and fix things. Like I said, by
like
maybe
if Kelly Tran dies in the first
going
5
into,
minutes,
like,
that would fix things. Yeah.
what?
If Kelly Tran, her character, just dies in the first.
Well,
5
I mean,
minutes?
just like you can go through and not without even reconning, rectify things that have happened by maybe by Star Wars explaining it away, I guess.
Yeah. Certain point of viewing it.
You know, yeah, and then, like I said, I mean, because that's what I say. Like,
her
just 'cause
parents being alcoholics and selling her for beer money could still be true, but they might not be her parents. Think about this. Okay, and this is what I've been thinking about all day about her and that explanation. If that's the case, that could still be true. If you know that there's this person that's alive, you can tell from a young age, maybe she was created that way to be that. Would you want to put her someplace where she's going to be around a lot of force-able people, or do you want to put her on someplace way the hell, the far away, where it's just like where she can barely survive?
Well, it depends.
There's not going to be a lot of force.
It depends on who put her there.
Yeah.
Like if it was somebody, like we see,
she could have been purposely.
like,
what I'm saying is, she could be purposely put on Jakku because
the
no
middle
one's
of
out
nowhere.
there.
Yeah. Because maybe whether it's an ally, like a good guy, or maybe it was a bad guy. It's like, what we need to. Maybe they wiped some similar. Maybe they wiped her memories and sent her there.
She may
make
not
sure
even
she was
have
in the
any
middle
memories.
of nowhere.
She may have never been trained at all. But if she was born, it's sort of like the chosen one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe she was like,
we know this
and they
person
tried to
has
wipe her memory.
This many mitochondria or what?
Yeah.
Let's not get into that. Is it? No, it's not mitochondria. What do they call it?
Midichlorians.
Yeah, midichlorians.
Midichlorians. Yeah, but I mean, maybe she actually showed those abilities when she was a baby, when she was a child, before she got to Jakku, and they were like, oh hell, maybe they were scared as hell. Maybe they tried to, brainwash her, wipe her mind or whatnot, and get her there and just hope for the best.
Yeah, for a later date.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's so many things, and that's something they could easily write in without having to retcon anything necessarily.
Do you think that's a Jedi?
Since we don't know her past.
That Kylo was killing in that scene in the forest with the stormtroopers. It looked like a Jedi robe.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, but and then I was also wondering, like, what if it's one of the Knights of Ren?
Mm-hmm. They don't look like that.
They
don't look like that. They all have helmets like Kylo.
Well, dude.
And they have big medieval axes.
Because they don't put fake things in trailers, do they?
No, they don't. Not like, do you trust me? Yes. Yes, I do. You're like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Whichever the Russos said that. Do you see that interview? He said, that's not in the movie. He said, that's not in the movie. He's like,
well, at this point, they're just messing with people. Those two are, and I mean, you can tell, like, if you've seen any of the
Conan on top of the big giant worm on the cover thing. It's okay if it's not in there, but just don't tell us that. Like,
well, if
we
you
know
see
that
most of the
something like that's going to happen.
Well, if you watch the rest of the interview, I mean, they're kind of playing along those whole lines anyway. They're just joking around. But any of the interviews that have been going on this week that I've noticed anyway, most of them really aren't even, like, especially on like the late night talk shows when they're all together in the big group. They are actually. They're a little more loose, but like on the TV shows I've been noticing, like on Kimmel and whatnot, they won't even talk about the movie. Like they're talking about the movie, but they're not answering any questions about the movie, like what's going on in the movie, nothing like that. And it's been weird. It's been weird. But like I said, they still just dance around the questions. They still ask the questions anyway, and it's been pretty funny. But like some of the bigger ones, like I think it was Entertainment Weekly. I think it was I can't remember. No. Good Morning America. On the Good Morning America interview, Scarlett Johansson actually says some things in there that actually play into one of my theories that I've got in the video I'm going to be working on. But she actually says something about the multiple teams going off to do on separate missions.
Well, yeah, that you all know your teams, you all know your missions. That
right,
yeah.
Right. But part of my theory has to do with something else, and it's part of a theory that I think a lot of people have kind of had just from things that we see in the trailer. But we only see a handful of people there with their hands in the middle, right? What is it, like 9 of them? Mm-hmm. It's funny too.
Professor Hulk.
Yeah, Professor Hulk.
The thing is, the thing is with that theory is if you look at it, it's like, yeah, it's bigger than the other arms, but it's not Hulk bigger.
Yeah, it's not Hulk bigger at all. Like it's like maybe I don't know who would you say, maybe like Hercules bigger? I don't know, because Hercules would still only be about the size of Thor.
Was it Thor size?
Yeah, I don't even know. It could have been Thor size, but I don't see why he would have all that anyway. Especially because we haven't seen him in one of the suits for one, but also we see him freely fly through space and things like that anyway. But, well, using the Rainbow Bridge and all that, or the summoning the Bifrost with Stormbreaker, however, not just floating through space, because we've seen what happened to him when he was floating out of space in Infinity War.
One of the supposed plot leaks was he used the Bifrost to take everyone, including the Milano. Is it the Milano? Is that the one they're in? We still don't know where that came from, do we?
Like I said, folks, this is the source of We Got This Covered. This is their inside source.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're going to be on the Benatar, though.
Yes, the Benatar.
No, I mean the Milano. Because it's a time-traveling movie.
Oh, yeah. The time traveling.
One of the 20,000 times they travel to. Like I said, it was half of Infinity, so that's at least 20,000, right?
One of the funny things is people are, they're talking a lot, and the only way this would really be possible, I've seen a lot of people talking about, we see in the one sequence where we see the Milano, and it looks like we see all the heroes aboard the Milano. You got me saying the Milano now. The Benatar. We see all the heroes on the Benatar, and you see it flying off really fast, and it's flying off from that planet, and the people are saying it looks like Morag. Okay, now the thing is, and I've covered this before too, is what are they doing on Morag? Okay, if they're time traveling to Morag to go to the past to get stones, there's only one specific time they can go there to get it, and that's at the exact same time that Peter Quill was there and got it in 2014, basically, in Guardians of the Galaxy. Because, I've covered this as well, the seas on Morag only recede once like every 300 years. 300 years according to the comic book, and 500 years I think James Gunn said.
They'll probably go to Xandar to get it. I'm pretty sure they'll go to Xandar, because they've got to have a cameo from John C. Reilly. Mm-hmm. Come on. If he's not in the movie, I'm going to be kind of pissed, because
I doubt he'll be in it. I honestly don't. I don't think he'll be in it. But if they're like I said, if they're going back there to if they're going back to Morag, they have to go within that specific window of time when the seas have receded to gain them access to that temple there on Morag. So at that same time, we know that Ronan actually had forces which were there for Thanos on Morag to retrieve it at the same time as well. So there's obviously people there that are in the know about the Power Stone, and they're there to retrieve it. And Thanos, having the gauntlet at that time, would easily be able to tell his past self and have the knowledge to know that they were going to be there to get the stone from Morag.
Yeah, time travel stuff just... Yeah.
Right?
And the thing is, there was one leak, and I don't know if this is a spoiler, but something about the gauntlet sort of repairing itself. Did you hear about that?
I thought in one of the interviews the Russos said that the gauntlet is permanently damaged, but also that it couldn't necessarily be repaired in and of itself. But I'm not sure that the gauntlet don't have to be repaired for the stones to work or to utilize the stones. It just can't perform the snap again. It just can't perform the snap again.
I think the thing with the stones is also, and I thought that was kind of hokey that Elizabeth Olsen was able to blow up. Scarlet Witch was able to destroy one of the stones. I don't think the stones should be. To me, you think Infinity. There's this the ultimate power in the universe for this particular force or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's why I think of. That's why they're betrayed, and for just someone to just be able to and blow it up is kind of dumb. I don't think they should be, and so I don't think that like going back to that the whole
her
thing.
Her powers are born of the Mind Stone though, and the Mind Stone being tied to the Space Stone. And he was actually he had the Mind Stone. He had the Mind Stone in him.
The Mind Stone.
And
the Mind Stone's connected to the Power Stone. The Power Stone's connected to the Time Stone.
Oh, I thought it was the Reality Stone next.
Yeah, but
and heed all the words of the law.
I don't.
Wasn't that the Click Your Seatbelt song?
I don't know. It's a song about bones. What bones are connected to bones? Could be. Oh. But that's my take on that. But they've already done that. They already did that in Infinity War. So that's kind of the one hokey thing about the Infinity Stones so far. You shouldn't be able to just destroy them. I don't think. And I don't think that they would lose their power. That's what the point I was going to make on this is I don't think they're going to lose their power. So yeah, the gauntlet being damaged is like, well, so what, And I would think that again, there was apparently one leak was that it starts like regenerating and getting better, and I would think that that's something that would happen because it's these infinite powers of all these. There's power, there's mind, it's just like everything. Mm-hmm. That's the whole thing about the Infinity Stones. It's like everything in the universe, the whole power of the universe.
Well, and some people, some people have speculated.
The Gray Skull guys.
Some people have speculated also that they're basically going to kind of basically undo the events of the decimation, and then they're basically going to do like possibly doing an Infinity Watch kind of thing, where they take the stones and spread them all throughout to certain people to give and hold and take care of, just like happened in the comic books and something like that. Yeah, and that doesn't seem too far-fetched, but we see that didn't last very long in the comic books. It didn't last very long at all. The Infinity Watch, a lot of those people went down pretty quick. But also, I also kind of think that that's what happened with the stones in the first place. I think that's what happened, why they all ended up where they were at in the first place.
Yeah, that's why Doctor Strange had his. And the other ones, I don't know what the history of the other ones, but it seemed like there was that sort of vibe with the Eye of the Agamotto?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whatever
Time
it is.
Stone?
Yeah.
Eye of Agamotto?
Yeah, and that was like a sacred duty passed down from the
right
ancients from on.
But she was one of the ones on the Infinity
Watch.
Right.
And so it would seem like something like that would happen where it's obviously eternal. It's been around they've been around since the beginning of the universe. So as long as they've been sentient beings and know what the powers are, they're going to recognize the danger and say, "Oh, I've got one here for you." Around this, okay.
So if they did have an Infinity Watch, okay, going on back in those days, and let's just
say, but they didn't call it that.
No, probably not. Maybe they did. We don't know yet. Maybe we'll find out in the Eternals movie coming out. But let's just say they got the Time Stone. The ancient one got the Time Stone. They're safeguarding it.
Like
okay.
Catman dude.
We also know that the Tesseract was in Norway ever since. God, what was it, like 986 AD? So
really,
yeah. So we know it was there. Because that's when the was it the Frost Giants? No, I think that's when the elves. Oh, I can't remember. You're getting me. You're getting me right here. I think it was when the elves originally attacked Earth, and that's when.
I only watched Thor in the theaters, so I.
No,
I don't recall what it might have been. I didn't realize that the Tesseract was part of that.
Yeah, well, the Tesseract was in Norway.
Right.
Yeah, and it was, but then we see when it was placed there and basically left there in Norway in I think it might have been the Thor movie. It was either I think it might have been the first Thor movie.
And then
we see when it was left there.
Then the Nazis found it.
Because that's where the ice giant. Yeah, it was the first Thor movie because that's where the Frost Giants went to Norway to attack, and Odin showed up and stopped them. Took the Casket of All Winters. The Tesseract was left there because it was buried there in that temple that we seen when Red Skull went to take it in Captain America: The First Avenger. So there was two of them on Earth at that time. There was a Time Stone. There was a Tesseract.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, You know, and one of my theories also is that the Power Stone is what landed in Wakanda. I believe it's probably what was that part of that meteorite that landed in Wakanda and enriched the soil and the other minerals in the ground that bonded and made that created vibranium essentially, and enriched the soil to create the purple heart-shaped herb.
It could be.
The Black Panther uses. I mean, it's purple. I mean, it's the same color.
It could be. I was hoping that there was some other backstory to vibranium, because actually I think it would be pretty interesting, because the whole thing was, a meteorite hit there, and it would be interesting if maybe in the Eternals movie there would be a planet or something like that that was all vibranium, and it gets destroyed and it gets shot all over the universe, and part of it lands on Earth and Africa.
Well, and it started to make me wonder if maybe the same thing happened with the Power Stone on another planet, and maybe that's what created like the Uru metal. Maybe it bonded with whatever is there. It enriched the soil there because maybe it just happened to land somewhere else before. But like I said, I think maybe the Power Stone was on Earth as well.
You can't just put Infinity Stone in front of something, you know? It's not like quantum. You can't just put it in front of something to explain away what happened.
Yeah, but I think maybe the Power Stone ended up in Wakanda and it was there. But then, if that being the case, how did it get from Wakanda
fucking colonizers?
How did it get from Wakanda to Morag? That's one of the big things is who placed that thing there? Who placed that on Morag? Who placed the Power Stone there on Morag? I wonder.
Well, okay. That's the cool thing about the Eternals. They were around for a long, long time before the current timeline, right?
Right. Yeah. Thousands of years.
Yeah. So what's cool is that like a lot of this stuff could have happened there, which I'm not familiar with the Eternals at all, and I'm actually not that psyched about the movie. I'll give it a chance. It could be great.
Yeah, certainly. I'm looking forward to it for sure.
I'm not. You know,
it's going to be a great cosmic adventure.
I'm not
and that's what I'm looking forward to.
I'm not automatically like against it or anything, but I'm not familiar with it, so whatever. It could be great, but that's the kind of thing that they could explain a lot of these sort of things, and they could really show the depth of deep time in the Marvel universe. Particularly, they could have characters like Galactus, who has been around for a long, long time, who could interact with them. And on the current timeline as well. Hell, maybe even the Silver Surfer. Like, who knows how long was he around in the comics?
I honestly don't know. I'm not. You know, I'm relatively new back into reading, man. I was on hiatus for a while.
Here's a question. Here's a question. I gotta pop up another one for this question. Do you know how?
But I think, and I think that's something that maybe like the streaming services coming out can do, and especially with like the X-Men and everything coming on, getting ready to come into the MCU and everything. Now, I'm not sure if anybody out there here on my channel watching right now actually watches Chillmonger. You should go check out his channel here on YouTube. He's pretty laid back dude. He does like some comic book reviews, a lot of similar stuff to what I do, similar content. He does like trailer reactions and things like that. You should go check out his channel because he was actually talking about something in one of his latest videos when he was talking about like I believe the streaming service and everything, the Disney Plus streaming service. Something that I had kind of touched on in my video that I did on about the mutants and them being integrated into the MCU. But he was saying about maybe like the streaming service, doing some of those smaller stories that they're doing there on the service. And, he was talking about maybe wanting to get like 4 movies a year instead of the current 3 we've been doing. And I'm like, that might be a little bit much, but I think that might be a good idea because in the middle,
considering all the X-Men movies that are like, we have all these comic book movies anyway every year. It's just, and a lot of them were Marvel. It's just that, well, some of them were Marvel Universe, some of them weren't. Well,
Right.
so it's not going to be a big deal to have 4.
Right. Well, I
movies.
also think, but he was even talking about how,
I mean,
like,
they've
what if
proven it's not saturated. It's not oversaturated. As long as they're quality stuff, people are going to watch
right.
it.
It's got to be quality. But he was talking to even about something I kind of brought up in my assessment of how I think they'd probably do it. But he was actually bringing up maybe they should actually do that part of the streaming service, do little stories, little story arcs of each certain characters to introduce them before we get a bigger X-Men movie. Because since Kevin Feige said that we're gonna not see one for at least 5 years, he didn't actually say that, people. Okay, go to the source of your information. He didn't actually say that. He just said it's not part of their 5-year plan. That doesn't mean that we're not going to get teases in movies. That doesn't mean they're not going to kind of be building the universe in the meantime. We're just not getting an X-Men film within the next 5 years. Okay? And honestly, that's really not too far from now if you think about it. I mean, that's really only the slated movies that we know we're getting already.
Casting.
You know, we already know we're getting like Doctor Strange 2. We know we're getting Black Panther 2. We obviously know we're getting another Captain Marvel. We know we're getting Eternals. Okay, that's just 4 movies right there.
Are we gonna get an Iron Man 4?
I mean, you got to think that that's 4 movies right
Captain
there.
America 4.
That's probably going to span over at least the next 2, possibly 3 years. So, I mean, really, what are we looking at? We're looking at maybe another 4 films tops. Over the next 5 years, so we're not. I mean, it's not that far off. And if they did build up those characters in the meantime,
they probably have stuff in the works that they just haven't announced. Well, you can look at the whatever.
Well, they couldn't have stuff. Well, they could have some stuff in the works.
They do have dates slated for like unannounced Marvel movies. They usually do have that a couple years in advance.
Yeah,
but there could be stuff that they're already working on.
I think they do. I think they've got stuff in production already.
Like, they don't want to announce before Endgame.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they're already there. Yeah, I think they've got things in production that they're already doing and shooting that they just haven't announced yet. I mean, I honestly
then again,
think
they did say they're going to kind of chill out after Endgame because like it's just
they need to
so much.
They need to. Well, because they got to build back up a universe again. Because they're not the next big like event.
Why? Because to Iron Man and Captain America and Thor and Hulk are still going to be around.
Probably.
Yeah, they're still going to be alive.
I don't think that they're all going to die. I mean, I honestly don't think for anything to happen. I don't think any of these characters have to die. You know, I mean, also, I mean, that's even in those cryptic words that Peggy Carter says in the trailer that she said a long time ago that people are just now paying attention to. I mean, she said, nobody can go back. All we can do is start over. Okay, what exactly does that mean? I think there's a lot of things that can easily be done.
I think we know he's going to go back to 1944 and he's going to marry her and dance and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to say because they don't. I mean, how much do they really have to do? They've really only got to change one small event, and none of that happens. And I can't really get too far into that because some of that plays into the video that I'm working on, with them going back to change something to alter easily just alters the future where Captain America would essentially be there all along and be aging with Peggy, through time. Yeah. Of course, we know that he ages slowly and all that stuff.
That would
anyway.
be a very cool ending. In fact, that was one of the leaks that was something that happened and whatever. I'm sure it was false.
Yeah, because I mean, even if he stays in the past, he's not going to be an old man by the time they get to like the current times. He's going to be aged probably, but not like old. But
that's how they can bring him back in because he is going to be an aging guy. That Chris.
Yeah.
That beautifully chiseled Chris. He's going to look a little bit older.
I know, man. Man crush, right? Dude, seriously. What is it with even my mom? Even my mom, when we were seeing some of the trailers, she seen him. She goes, "Oh." She said something. She's like, "Oh man, yeah, that Chris Evans. He's just so hard to look at." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, Ma."
I think he does have that all-American all-American.
He's
male,
got that look.
Good guy, like all-around good guy. The guy that you would look to if you didn't know what to think about something. Like if you didn't know what was right and what was wrong, he was a good. And that was the kind of the thing about Infinity War that I kind of got a little that I knew was going to be like a big moment. Like when he finally shows up in Infinity War, like it's like 30 minutes into the movie, before he even shows up, right? Something like that.
Yeah,
like everyone else has had these big action set pieces and been introduced, and like we're doing things. You have no idea. They don't even bother. And I think that was a good way to do it. It was like because that plays off of what happened in Civil War. It's like you don't really know what's going on with the dude, and he just shows up and kind of handles business, and from then on, and this is getting into the philosophy of things. Then on, there's more of a moral center to the movie, and things sort of kind of correct. Not in time to actually fix what happened, but it seems like everyone has a direction. And he's like, well, this hiding was stupid. Now I'm going to go back to headquarters, and General Ross is on the phone. He's like, oh, you're going to stop us? We're going to fight you too. It's like that's what we need. Right. That's what we were kind of missing.
Yeah.
And
that leadership. That leadership.
Yeah,
Every team needs a leader. Tony Stark isn't a leader, okay? Tony Stark is barely a good guy, okay? Like, and don't get me wrong. Believe me, I love Robert Downey Jr. I like Iron Man and all that stuff. But, really, Tony Stark is barely a good guy. I mean, he's hardly a good guy at all. And if he is, he's like got to be like one of the worst good guys ever.
Hey, Iron Man, is your head still on?
Yeah, take that, Tony Stark. Hey, if you haven't watched my video to the Stark Sham, man, I was kind of halfway joking in some of that, but we all know that jokes come from somewhere, right? They got some truth to them.
I think he's shown leadership qualities, and he's certainly been the mastermind of a lot of things, and they may have not worked out right, but he certainly has, and maybe a megalomaniac in a sense, or maybe a narcissist in a sense, thinking that he can be the one to solve things. But I think he fits into it. I think
he's a problem. I think he's a problem solver. But he causes more problems than he solves. He does, really. But he's also he's not the person.
That's the metaphor. We're talking about the real world here. That's what it is.
He's not the person to lay down on the line, let the other guy crawl over you.
I say we cut the line. I say we just cut the line.
Always a way out.
Yeah, that's in the some leak.
Put on the suit. Let's go around. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Thor. Thor's obviously got a leadership ability. He does. That's proven. I mean, look what he did. He's a king. Well, he was a prince for a long time, but I mean, look at he led and protected.
Can we get into
Asgard and the Nine Realms?
Of Thor and Captain America and Iron Man.
What about it?
I think I sent you this in a text.
What?
Okay, so they all had 3 movies. At the end of all 3 of their movies, all 3 of their third movies, Thor Ragnarok, Civil War, and Iron Man 3, what happened was they all gave up. Even though the Iron Man thing was obviously for Age of Ultron comes out a few months later and you're Iron Man again. But they all sort of came to this point in their life where they just gave up. Where giving up sounds bad, like, oh, you're a loser. It wasn't like that. It was they all lost their ego, and they all decided they were willing to lose how they defined themselves.
They were all compromised.
Thor, yeah, they compromised.
They were all compromised.
Thor lost through Ragnarok. He lost his home world, and that was his identity, and he had to accept that by the end of Ragnarok. He had to accept that what he thought was his identity, he had to let go. Iron Man had to let go. Captain America, he gave his shield to Iron Man at the end of Civil War. That's where they all are coming into Infinity War. And I don't know how well this is planned, but it just seems like that all works together. We've all decided to kind of give up our ego in a sense. That's where they were as characters, where they're like, you know what, man, I'm not giving up. I'm still the hero, but realize that all this other stuff that I thought was me or whatever doesn't matter. There's like a higher calling, sort of, so to speak.
And I hear that, and and still in the end, and even in the end of that, and I'm
then like throughout the movie.